Hey everybody, this is the Reverend Phillip K, and welcome to the Dudeist Journey podcast. I'm your host, and I'm going to be walking you through all this fun stuff here today. Now, typically I have a sermon. Um, shit, it went out. I'm here smoking my hemp cigarettes here. This one. I've been doing these rolled ones because I get like the flavored papers, and I'm thinking, oh, whenever I smoke, I'll taste cherry or grape. I don't. I taste fucking ash like I did before. And apparently I didn't roll too well because this fucker's not staying lit. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, so usually I talk a little bit about what's going on in my life, and I'll do a little sermon about a particular topic, and I'll often pull information from various sources, religious and non-religious, scientific even. So today's different, man. And the reason I haven't been posting these past few months is because I have literally been going through the worst possible fucking shit that a person could go through. I mean, obviously I wasn't captured and tortured and shit, but my special lady friend, my wife of 22 years, my high school sweetheart, the love of my fucking life, died of cancer on December 9th, and she got diagnosed in early October. Literally 9 weeks, man. Actually, a little less, but 9 weeks. From the time she got diagnosed to the day she died, 9 fucking weeks is all we had. So I'm going to tell you about this story. And it's not going to be a fucking easy one to talk about. And so bear with me. Because I don't want to talk about this stuff. But I'm going to have a funeral soon. See, my wife, she has a plot out by her grandparents. And so it's in another state. So I'm going to have to do the service here and then do another one again. Lucky me. So I'm going to take you through this, man. Now, typically, I don't really talk about family and my life, but I have a wife. I had a wife, and I have 2 daughters. One is 10, one is 4. My wife's name was Krista. I met her in high school. We were 16 when we started dating. Now, before we met, I was in a dark place, man. I was depressed, and I got with this girl. I fell deeply in love, and she broke my heart in a million fucking pieces. And then I fell in love with Kristen, and she put my heart back together. So I married her. And so we were just a couple of kids. Now, my wife, Kristen, when I met her, she was in a wheelchair. She had been in a wheelchair for years. It's not a fucking easy life. But I didn't see the wheelchair. I just saw her, man. And she was a light. A bright fucking light. She's one of those people that have a smile and shit. And yeah, here this person is in a fucking wheelchair, going about, still living her life. It just kind of, it reminds you how lucky you fucking are, and where your perspective on life should probably be. She was all into the debate team. She used to be a softball player, a really good one. But after the accident, she got into like debate and stuff like that. She was really good. When we got into college after high school, I had no idea what the fuck I was going to do. I was working in fast food and taking philosophy classes and shit. And just so you know, you don't make money in philosophy till you're dead. Just heads up on that one, bro. So she became a court reporter, and we went through life together, man. She wanted to get married. I wanted to wait till like we had more money, but she was like, if we get married, we get a tax deduction. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. That's the thing, man. If you can get something to make financial sense, I'll fucking do it. But it's when people come up with these kind of crazy fucking ideas, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna work. But if you have a financial angle, I'm more likely to listen. So we were together. We moved around, lived in different places, lived in LA for a while, man. And we ended up in Texas. She had family out here, and they were like, it was 2008, crash was happening. They're like, Texas is awesome, man. You got to come out to Texas. So we're like, all right, fuck it, let's go to Texas. Oh, fuck, dude, this thing went out again. God damn it. I just want to smoke. Can't you tell how healthy I am from all the coughing? Anyway, so we ended up out here, got together. I'm just gonna get a regular one. I can't. My hand rolled ones are fucking suck today. Ugh. I can't roll, man. That's not a good thing. So anyway, we get here and we have two kids, and my wife, she wasn't good at like the domestic stuff because she was in a wheelchair. She's like, look, man, I'm 3 feet tall and I can't climb a fucking ladder. Okay, so adjust your expectations accordingly. And I've learned, don't expect anything from anyone because you won't be as let down. So she's like, I can't do much with like the house, but I can do this court reporting thing and I can make it to where we won't have to worry about money. So she's like, if you can stay home and raise the kids, I can do this job, you know. And I was always a big help in her work. I helped out with like transcripts and everything, and did everything I could to help her career. Because me, I'm all into the arts, and the arts don't pay the bills. I'm serious, they don't, and the work's not steady. So what I did was, I said, okay, I'll stay home and raise the kids. Because I mean, think about it. I cooked food. I've waited on people. I've worked in kitchens. I've served drinks. I've had to scrub shit off of walls. Human fucking shit. So, if I can do that for a job, why not do it for my family? So, it was like, alright, why not? I had no idea what I was fucking getting into. I'm telling you, man, like, talk to any, like, stay-at-home parent or, like, the stay-at-home moms. They'll tell you, dude, it's fucking insane. It's a 24/7 job that pays in hugs and kisses. You get very little to no breaks, no holidays, nothing. Everything is on you. And because I'm male, I'm not only expected to do the the what's considered the mom jobs, but I also have to do the dad jobs too. And I have to be my wife's caregiver. So, a lot of fucking pressure, a lot of shit. Not easy, man. Not easy. So, needless to say, the other thing was we found a flow. You see, every household is different. Everybody's different. So you just have to sort of come to terms with that. You're just like, hey, that's cool. Everyone's different. That's okay. You know. And so we found our flow. You know, like she was really good on the day-to-day expenses, getting the bills paid on time, and I was really good at taxes. I'm serious. I'm real fucking good at taxes. Like my taxes, not necessarily your taxes, but my taxes. I have audited the IRS twice and won. That's right. The IRS did not audit me. I audited them. Okay? So think about that there for a moment. All right? Dwell on that shit for a second. So that's me. That's who, we found out, like, what we could do, you know. I'm gonna check something real quick. Yeah. I turned off the circle light. Sorry. I'd rather be draped in shadow today because I don't really feel that fucking great. So let's get down to the story of how my wife, the love of my life, my wife of 22 years, died within 9 weeks. Okay. So my wife is in a wheelchair. Wheelchair is a whole different fucking world, man. I saw her pain, the shit she had to deal with. She had to fight for every fucking inch. And you deal with a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of medications, and all kinds of shit. It was fucking nuts, and not fucking easy. So anyway, I noticed that she's got this kind of, like, her right thigh is kind of stiff, and I don't know what it is. I'm thinking that the muscles are tightening, so I'm trying to massage them out with this massage gun. But it kept getting bigger and bigger, and then I'm starting to realize this is like a growth. Like, when I feel it, this doesn't feel like your thigh muscle. This feels like a growth. So she doesn't want to go to the doctor because she hates going to the doctor because she's been in and out of hospitals her whole life. And I can understand, because hospitals suck. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, hospitals on average are charging you like $36,000 a night. And they wake you up every 2 hours to take your vitals and shit, and they give you a crappy food. $36,000 a night? Do you have any idea what kind of room I could get in Vegas for $36,000 a night? I could have Vegas come to the room, okay, with that kind of fucking cash. But yeah, hospitals, expensive, sucks. Anyway, so I try to get her to go to the doctor. She won't go. She's like, I got a physical coming up. We'll check it out then. But then it starts hurting. So her mom, who is a radiologist, she tells her, she's like, look, this could be a blood clot, and this could kill you. You need to go get this checked. You need to go to the ER right now. So she agrees. We go to the ER. The ER does some tests. They take a look, and they said, listen, we're not for certain, but we believe this is cancer. We need you to go to an oncologist, like, right away and have a biopsy done and check this out. And so she said, okay. So she went, and we got the biopsy done in early October. I think it was October 5th. And they weren't for certain if it was cancer. They thought maybe it was hematoma. So they had to do another biopsy on the 11th. And on the 11th is when we were told, yes, this is cancer. And not only is it cancer, it's stage 4. And it's spread to your part of your lungs, it's spread to your hip bone, and there's a lump on your back. So they're like, this thing has spread, and they basically came in and gave us the news that you've got 6 months to a year to live. This is what they tell my wife. Now, we first hear this news, we're trying to come up with best case scenario, what about different treatments, different medications, da-da-da. And they said, this is with treatment and medication. You're looking at 6 months to a year if you're lucky. It's cancer sarcoma. It attaches to fatty tissues. It attaches to muscles and soft tissue stuff. Okay, so it's horridly. It definitely goes down for the organs. Now, the lump on her leg, this giant fucking cancer tumor. They said they wanted to get it off. They were like, we need to operate, get this thing off, and hopefully with chemo and radiation we can shrink the remaining cancer. We said okay. Then they took another look and they said, wait, we have to amputate your entire right leg. Because this tumor's in your femur bone. It's not going away. Even if we take the thing out, it's still going to keep spreading, and we're trying to stop the spreading. So this was a hard decision, but my wife agreed to have her right leg amputated. She was in a wheelchair as it fucking was. Now she's got to get her right leg fucking amputated. Not happy about it, but I told her, I said, babe, I'd rather have a living wife with one leg than a dead wife with two, okay? So we make the decision and we get it done. Now, when they first told us that she's got like 6 months to a year, my wife and I, we just held each other and cried. And every time I hugged her from that point on, I said I love you probably 1,000 times. Just I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, just as many times as I could. Because I didn't know if this was going to be the last time. So I tried to get my mind off things. I was like, look, I'll go downstairs to the cafeteria, get something to eat. And I went down to the cafeteria and I had a panic attack. And I've never had one of these before. But like I couldn't really breathe and I was trembling and I was sweating and I straight threw up. Not in the cafeteria. I made it to the bathroom on time, but I straight just threw up. And then I have a physical, so I tell my doctor what's going on. The doctor says that it's you had a panic attack. We're going to put you on some low grade Xanax and see what's happening. Because when I'm in the physical, they're like, "Have you had any thoughts of depression or hopelessness lately?" And I'm like, "Well, now that you mention it, yeah, fuck yeah, I have." So they put me on some low grade Xanax to help because every time I drove, because it was a fucking hour drive, because she's at this special fucking hospital and shit. So I was literally having panic attacks every time I was driving to the hospital because I didn't know if she was still going to be alive when I got there. It was freaking me out. Plus, I got two kids at home. Now, my in laws had just recently moved in because they sold their house. They're going in retirement mode kind of thing. So they were able to help with the kids, help them get them to and from school, and all that stuff, which was a big help. Um, so I'm going back and forth. We get her right leg amputated. It's not easy. It's not fun. She's going through a shit ton more pain. And then they said we're going to send you to a rehabilitation hospital, and then we're going to start scheduling the chemo and everything. So we said okay. So we go to the rehabilitation hospital, and it's one of the shittiest fucking you can't even call it a hospital. They didn't have any like half the fucking equipment that a normal hospital does. They didn't have any like because like hospitals have like these wipes and stuff for like cleaning you off and bathing and stuff and everything. Because my wife, she's stuck in this bed. She's having to piss and shit, and so um, they didn't have like any like disinfecting wipes or anything. They just had towels, and they had all this old ass equipment. Nothing was working right. It was unfucking believable. Like I tried to get one of those toilet chairs or commode chairs they call them, and I put it on the toilet and the feet were too short. So I tried to extend the feet and the legs were rusted shut. So my wife had to shit into a trash can. I mean, this place was fucking horrible. The doctor cut her pain pills in half for whatever dumb fucking reason. And I ended up having a fight with him and got on his ass. And I was ready to pull her out of the fucking place. I was like, this place is hell. I'm getting you home because this is not where I want you to fucking be. And the hospital said, listen, she's having problems with her breathing. Let us send her down the street to another hospital where they can do like a CT scan and check her lungs. And then you can check out. I said, fine. So we wait the next day. They take her in and they admit her because she's got a bunch of blood clots in her lungs and they have to do an operation to remove the blood clots. Fucking hell. So I go down to the street to this other hospital, find out where she is, find out the situation. I go back to the rehabilitation hospital to get her stuff, and they have already thrown all her shit into garbage bags and shoved it in a closet. Fucking dicks. So I have to get all her stuff, sort everything out, get everything packed, go down to the other hospital, help her out there, and that hospital stay. She was in the ICU, which is probably the best part of the hospital you can be in. You've got like your own personal nurse, and you can get things done a lot quicker, which is nice. But God, she was going through just a huge amount of pain and having all these problems, and she couldn't lie down. She had a lot of problems lying down. So we had a proper kind of like, yeah, she had to be kind of like in almost in a sitting up position, but she could still lay down a bit. So she's going through all that hell. I'm running back and forth between the hospital and home, trying to make sure I see my kids, trying to make sure that they're taken care of too, and that they know Dad's still here. And unfortunately, their mom's in the hospital. And I'm giving everybody updates. I'm posting stuff on Facebook and shit, trying to let people know the situation. Um, so we're going through all this shit, and then we finally get her home. So we take her home. She's in her own bed. I am the caregiver, so I'm taking care of the wounds from the amputation surgery, and I'm having to take care of her diet and just do everything and dispense her medications and clean her up and help her out and do everything, everything. And during that time, it was kind of weird because she kept popping up. Like she couldn't lay down. She'd lay down for a little bit and then she'd pop up, almost like you know, half asleep kind of thing. So I didn't understand what was going on. We finally were just propping a bunch of pillows so she could sleep on the pillows and kind of lump forward, man. And we're thinking that's gonna help, or just trying to make her comfortable. But then she starts having this coughing fit, and she coughs up a blood clot. And so we're like, look, maybe we should go to the ER just to be safe, just to find out what's going on, because that's you coughed up a blood clot. That's not fucking great. And so I take her down to the ER. They do another CAT scan, and the doctor on staff that night was like, "Listen, she's got a lot more blood clots and stuff, and her condition's not good. So we're gonna admit her in the ICU here at this other hospital. This is now the fourth fucking hospital here, and we're gonna have our oncologist team take a look at it. People that are more qualified than myself." And then we say, "Okay." My wife isn't happy about it, but she's there. Now, during all this whole time, my birthday happens. We had to have the cake and ice cream in the hospital with my wife. Um, and then Halloween happened, and my wife was still in the hospital during that time, so I had to do FaceTime with her while I took the kids trick or treating so she could see the kids trick or treating with the neighbors and everything. Um, and now we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and you know, we had her home for that time, but she was only able to be up for like a couple hours, and then she had to go back down, just the pain and everything. And she was on a breathing machine. We had to have oxygen and all that shit. So there's this oxygen concentrator next to us that's constantly filtering and pumping oxygen all night long. It was fucking hell. But so we check in at the ICU. We've done the second CAT scan. This is now late November, going into December. And as the doctor's talking to us, he pulls me outside. Now, when a doctor is talking to a patient who you're related to, or is your spouse or whatever, and they pull you out in the hallway to talk to you privately, not a good sign. Anytime a doctor's pulled me out in the hallway, the news is always fucking 100 times worse than what he just told the patient, my wife being most of the time. So the doctor says, "Hey, do you know how serious her condition is?" And I said, "Well, yeah, she's got cancer sarcoma. The doctors gave her 6 months to a year." And he says, they were being generous. He said, the cancer has spread. He goes, "Does she have any immediate family or anything?" I said, "Well, she's got parents living with us, and she's got a sister, and some close cousins that are like brothers to her." And the doctor said, "Call them. Call them and let them know if they want to see her that they're going to have to come soon." And I'm like, fucking shit, seriously? So her mom calls, and her mom, once again, radiologist. And so she works with, she looks at CAT scans and x-rays and shit all the day. So I have her come over, and because the doctor's talking to us how bad this case is, and he lets her look at the scans, because I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. If you ever seen a CT scan, it's just blobs of black and white. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, but she does. And when she looked at this thing, her eyes went wide, her mouth dropped, and she started crying. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And they said the cancer has spread to pretty much everywhere in her upper body. It's taken over her lungs, her lymph nodes, her heart, her liver. She doesn't have long. So I'm talking to two doctors specifically who are handling her case. And the first doctor, so they're telling me that, listen, she doesn't have months. She doesn't have weeks. She has days. Fucking days. And so I said, well, do you think she'll make it till Christmas? And they shook their head. Because I'm trying to get a date. I'm like, how long does she have? And they said, we don't know for certain how long she has, but we can tell you right now, it's not long. And this is early December. This is like December, like, December 3rd or 4th. And I asked her if she's, is she going to make it till Christmas? And they said no. They said, you need to consider hospice right now. And you might have to do a hospice facility because of how serious her condition is. So we're trying to get hospice. We're having a problem with that. They move her from ICU to another room. And they were almost just going to let her stay at the hospital till she died. But we found a hospice agency that could help. Because the main thing was that she had her pain meds on an IV pump. And we had to have a hospice that dealt with IVs because most don't. Don't know why, but what the fuck ever. So we get the pain pump. We get her home. And she has to be propped up on a bunch of pillows and flopped over. Her cousins have come. Her sister has come. And they all came to basically say goodbye. They stayed for about a weekend. And we were just making her comfortable till she died. Her condition got worse. She got like skeletal. She couldn't really eat. We were giving her these Ensure shakes to drink because, what else we got? We're trying to get stuff in her. We had to crush and liquefy her medication. And she would have these spouts where she would pop up, like out of sleep, and she would say stuff like, I just want to go. I just want to go. Because she wasn't living, man. She was dying. And one time she got up and she said, no, I can't go. I can't go without my husband. I can't go without my children. And I told her it was okay. It's okay to go. We'll meet you there. Just another time. I had to tell her it was okay to die. I wanted her here. I wanted her here with me. We got 2 kids, man. I can't do this shit on my own. And on December 8th, which is my little brother's birthday, he died 2 years ago from an overdose, and that's why I even started doing this podcast. On December 8th, about 10 minutes before midnight, she started having this really bad coughing fit, and she started gasping for air. And I was holding her, and she's barely breathing. And I said, I love you. And she said, I love you. But it was like, I love you. She was, she couldn't really talk. And then she died. There's nothing I could do. I couldn't save her. I didn't have a magic fucking wand. I was using every fucking thing in the book, every goddamn hippie shit and healing crystals. Nothing fucking worked. Prayer groups upon prayer groups. You see people die in the movies and they're holding each other and everything's all nice and all that shit. No, it's not. It's like they're pale. They're skeletal. Her eyes rolled into the back of her head. Jaw just flopped open. Her mother was with me. She had heard the commotion and came in to help. Finally laid her on her back. She couldn't lay down because all the cancer in her lungs and her heart and shit. She couldn't lay down. That's why she kept popping up. We were finally able to lay her down, and I called the hospice nurse. They came like an hour later. They declared her time of death at 1 a.m. on December 9th. But I know that she died at 11:51 p.m. on December 8th because I was fucking there. I sat there with her body for over an hour, and then the nurse came, and the nurse had to call the medical examiner, and that took another fucking hour or so. By the time everything was said and done, it was 3:30 a.m. in the morning. I got a couple hours sleep, got up, got my kids ready for school, told them that Mom went to the hospital because the very next day was my little girl's birthday, my youngest. She was going to turn 4. I didn't want to tell her that her mom died because the preschool she goes to, they planned this big party for her and everything. And then I had to go to a fucking funeral home just the next day and signed all the paperwork and the death certificate and all that shit. And my dad had just arrived. He got there Thursday night, the night she died. The plan was to have her cremated and then have the services in January so that way people could enjoy the holidays, because traveling during that time would just be nuts because, like I said, I'm in Texas. So I got to do a funeral service here for friends and family here, and then I have to fly to California where her burial plot is and then bury her remains there and have another funeral service. Lucky me. Now, so I get the funeral home and all that stuff set up, and then I go and I meet my dad, and then I have him out for the weekend, and he goes home, and then my mom and my sisters came on Monday because everyone was coming out to try to help with Chris, but now it was too late. So instead they just helped here at the house. And I gotta tell you, there's this whole fucking shock, and I'm still going through the shock. The shock is wearing off, and the sadness is starting to wear in of the fact that she's gone. But the shock, you're just running, doing the everyday thing. But I had to tell my youngest, because she was asking where Mama was. It was Sunday night. I was putting her to bed, and I told her that Mama died, and I had to explain to her that she was gone, and that we're still a family. You know, Dad's still here, and Sissy's still here, and Grandma and Grandpa are still here. So, but every day since then, my little girl has continually asked, "Mama died? I miss her. Daddy, we're still a family." Every day, every fucking day, since December fucking 10th. I'm sorry, December 11th. My youngest daughter, who's 4 years old, who just turned four on the 10th, has asked me every day, "Mama died?" "Yeah, kiddo. Mama died." So, still had Christmas. We're still living. We're still going. All the friends from my wife's work got together and got my girls all the Christmas presents that they wanted on their list. And then the teacher at the preschool, she got a bunch of presents for them. So the kids, yeah. I have to say that I cannot express my gratitude enough for all the people that have helped and pitched in and sent money and letters and presents and whatever. I mean, it's been overwhelming. I've had to say thank you so much to so many people. There's been an initial core of friends that have been really great. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've had to go through this whole thing of, calling all the credit cards and shit and all the accounts and telling her that she's dead and waiting for a death certificate I gotta send in and blah 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 and shit. I mean, I didn't even know the fucking Hulu password, and so like I'm having to get everything and start over. I hope to God no one ever has to go through this shit, man. And I know there are people that do, but if you're listening, I pray, hope, wish, command the universe that this never has to happen to you. My wife was 42. 42, you're not supposed to fucking die at 42. What the fuck do I know? I'm just some dude. Some silly dude. Telling silly stories. Hoping to better a silly world. I lost my special lady friend. My wife, my partner, the other half of my fucking brain, man. I often compared life to like a boat. And in our boat, my wife was the captain, and I was the dude in the basement shoving coal into the furnace. Now, without her, the boat crashes, and without me, the boat doesn't move. But we know together, the boat stays afloat. Now it's on me. And I don't even have a fucking job. I was a stay-at-home parent. That was my job. Just when I started to think of getting back into the workforce, this happens. I like to say that, the pain's gotten better, but it hasn't because, like I said, this just happened, man. It's December 26th as of this recording. My wife died on the 9th, man. This is still a fresh fucking wound. And I'm trying to figure out, like, when am I supposed to do stuff? You know, like, because my wife would be the one to answer this shit. I'd always go to her for this kind of stuff. But I'm like, when, you know, how does this work? What do I do? When do I still wear my wedding ring? Uh, do I date? Do I not date? Do I get remarried? Do I never get remarried? Should I keep all their pictures? Because I got pictures of her all over the fucking place. I have paintings I've done of her hanging next to my bed. She was the sun in my sky, and she was a big piece of my heart, and now that part is gone. I still got two pieces, but she was a big fucking piece, man. And the last time that I was single, I was a depressed goth kid. I don't know what I'm supposed to be now. And people say that, like, you'll know when the right time is. But you know, nothing ever feels like the right time. When my mom and sisters were here, they kept asking how to help. So I said one way you could help would be going through Kristen's closet, man, because, like, I don't know what the fuck to do with her clothes. Every time I look in there, I'm sad as fuck because I see all her clothes, and I remember her wearing all these different outfits. So we emptied it out, donated stuff. Now it's empty. That makes me sad too. Either way, it's gonna be fucking miserable. Either way. But I guess doing the inevitable part was the better thing to do. I don't know. But I got so many uncertainties over my head now, and I'm just gonna try and figure them out. Like, where am I gonna get health insurance? That was all through my wife's work. It's that big fucking question of where do we go from here? And I don't fucking know. I'm doing it a day at a time. And next week, my kids got to go back to school, and I'm already planning out the memorial services. But not only that, but I got to I got to book a flight and do all that shit. Well, on the 23rd of December, just a few days ago, I got my wife's remains from the crematorium. Funeral home processed the whole thing. And I had to find an urn. Now, they got them down there at the funeral home, but they're pretty pricey. I found a whole selection on Amazon. So, just so you know, you can find urns and caskets and coffins on fucking Amazon. Just so you know. And that's something I still haven't decided yet when we bury. Like, do we bury the urn? Do we bury the ashes? Because some people wanted to spread our ashes in certain places. So, I don't know. And then during this time, I lost her wedding ring. Um, I She took it off before the first biopsy on October 5th, and I put it in my pocket, and I brought it home, and I put it in her jewelry box. I check her jewelry box, it's not there. So I'm freaking the fuck out. Where is it? You know, and couldn't find it. Now, my wife, she would always use cotton balls to like do this face cleanser stuff and everything. She had this whole process for skincare. Okay, I never fucking understood it because I'm male and we're not supposed to understand that shit. We're given one bottle of stuff that washes everything, and we just use that. So she would leave this trail of cotton balls around the fucking bathroom and shit. And I made a joke like, all I need to find you is to follow the trail of used cotton balls. And so the ring is lost. I can't find it. And guess where I fucking found it? In the jar of cotton balls we keep on the counter. Of all the fucking places, that's where it was. How did it get there? I don't know. Because I remember distinctly putting it in that motherfucking jewelry box. Maybe the kids? I don't know. Maybe it was her. I don't know. Because I am now going through this whole process of grief and everything. And I hate to say it, but if you're listening to this podcast, then you're coming along with me, man. Because the next podcast I'm going to do is going to be about love. Because despite all this fucking grief and all this sadness and losing someone that was the world to me, there is still love in this world. And I still believe that love creates some of the best shit on the fucking planet. And hopefully I can help you to see that too. So that has been the past 3 to 4 months for me. And what happens next, man? I don't know. But I will tell you that I did take off my wedding ring. And I took her ring and my ring and I put it on a silver chain and I got it here around my neck now. Let's hear the jingle. And that's where I keep it now. And for some reason that feels best. And as much as I want to crawl into a fucking bottle and cry my eyes out forever, I got 2 kids, man. I don't have that choice. I got to keep this fucking boat afloat. So while I have this giant jar filled with pain, I can only that I have to empty. I can only dump out a little at a time. Because if I dump out the whole fucking jar, it's a fucking mess. Someone suggested trying to take like some time for myself, so I thought, okay, there's this convention I'm gonna go to, and I'll rent a hotel and take the weekend for myself. But it's in like 5 or 6 months, and a friend of mine was like, "You might need to schedule something before then." Just saying, because it's like I got 2 kids who have just lost their mother. I have her parents live with me, so I have 2 people who just lost their daughter. I just lost my wife, and I feel like I'm trying to help them get through this while at the same time trying to figure out how the fuck I'm supposed to. Because I've read all kinds of books on grief and departure and letting go and all that kind of stuff. And it's the one thing that has been for certain in all of them is that you are going to suffer, you are going to cry. And even when you think you're doing just fine, something will happen. A song will come on, or you'll see something, or you'll pass a place, and the fucking tears will flow like a goddamn river. Because right now I'm troubled, and I'm trying to understand what it is I need to do and how I should do it. And I don't know, because it's what my special lady friend was for. She always helped me out with that. That was the other part of my brain. Now I gotta grow a new one. As far as, you know, finding love again, well, I was like, well, maybe I'll wait till my kids are in college. So that's like, what, 15 years? uh, People said I don't think you should wait that long, but they're like, maybe, I guess there's a kind of a general rule out there that take a year, figure out yourself, figure out shit for you, figure out, because like I said, I got to get a career going, I have to get a job, I have a lot of work I have to fucking do while I'm raising two kids, and now being that single parent, you know. And I think my kids, it hasn't affected them too abruptly because I've been the stay at home. So they're used to seeing my ass all the time and I'm doing everything. So, like my wife always said, she goes, if we, if either of us should die, I want to go first. And girl got her wish. But this was way sooner than I think either of us thought. That's what I've been up to, man. I'm still going through it. And if you still want to listen, I'll keep telling you about it. So, thanks for tuning in, folks. Usually we have 5 minutes of silence, but I'm going to cut that today. You can have 5 minutes of silence afterwards. So, right now, I'm going to go have a drink and try and get some sleep. Because tomorrow's another day and the world doesn't stop for me, man. Doesn't stop for anybody. And I'm going to do all I can to keep this boat afloat. This is the Dudeist Journey podcast with Phillip K. Thanks for listening, man. Catch you next time, dude. Just remember, take it easy. Because when you take it easy, the dude abides. See ya.